Our second lesson for this morning comes to us from the Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. Listen now to the Word of God. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem asking, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star at its rising. We have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all of Jerusalem with him, and calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet, and you, Bethlehem in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler, who is the shepherd of my people Israel." Then Herod secretly called for the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word, so that I may also go and pay him homage." When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another route. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
What am I supposed to bring? That's always a question that overwhelms my mind when thinking about potlucks if you're from the south, or about pigeons if you're from the north. I did not grow up with either of those. In Mexico, you're asked to bring something specifically when you have these kinds of gatherings. They inform you that you are supposed to bring chicken, enchiladas, or the soda drinks, or the salad. You are assigned a specific thing to bring to these celebrations. Whereas here in the US, in my personal experience, sometimes you're not even given the type of food or the type of dish you're supposed to bring. And most often than not, you're simply expected to bring something that you want to share with everyone else. Maybe your favorite dish, maybe the thing that you like the most. And I ask myself, how's that fair? How is that a thing? I am an okay cook, and I'm happy to share my favorite dish with other people. But there's this voice inside my head that constantly says, what if it's too spicy? Or what if they don't what if it doesn't have any flavor? Or what if it's not good enough for people to like it? You know, it's a lot at stake. So as you can imagine, potlucks create a great level of anxiety in my life, and that's why I always end up choosing to bring a salad. I feel like it's really easy, it's really hard to mess up a salad, and people usually appreciate getting some greens on their plates before adding all the other yummy stuff as they go down the line. So a safe choice. But I'm sure here at the church we have excellent cooks that make delicious dishes. And I was witness to that when we had the potluck last month. Perhaps for many of you participating in potlucks, it's an opportunity to try new things or to modify an already delicious recipe. And that demonstrates something about your personality. It shows your willingness to give to others. Devoting your time and your energy to offer a delicious experience to your friends, to your family, to your church, shows your commitment to giving your very best to them. For me, it is not so much that I don't give my very best, let me be clear. Rather, it shows how bad I am at knowing what to give people. Unless that person tells me specifically what they really want, I will probably default to something that he or she may not even like. And yeah, so I'm kind of the worst at giving gifts. And I think that's one of the biggest problems during the Christmas season. I am quite positive that most of us have at least experienced once a situation when we receive a gift that we truly dislike. The Atlanta newspaper wrote an article last month on a study performed by Emory University. The article was titled, "Emory's study finds that bad gifts are indeed worse gifts than none at all." Of course, I was very intrigued. I needed to know this information. The premise of the study is to claim that when someone gives a bad gift, and a bad gift includes those gifts that are either offensive or judgmental or inappropriate or very much boring and unthoughtful, they create an experience that is certainly obnoxious and even perhaps traumatic to the person receiving such gift. Bad gifts, according to the study, remain in your consciousness and create long-lasting, unpleasant memories. They are really hard to get rid of. Therefore, not giving anything seems to be the better option when you really don't know what to give to someone. And I can totally see this reasoning. As a kid, I had a couple of instances in which I was given gifts that made me completely disappointed. It was rather sad watching my cousins unwrap funny or exciting gifts when my gift was not of a similar value or when I didn't get what I was expecting. And as a kid, seeing other kids getting what they wanted, it's kind of very unpleasant and super annoying. And the worst part of all of that is that, as you can tell, I still keep those memories in my head. Perhaps I sound a little condescending regarding gifts and getting what you really want. But the point is that offering something special to someone is a task that requires a lot of consideration. To be able to provide a good gift, you have to know the person, and you must have a relationship with that person. And when offering a gift to someone, you're giving a part of yourself, and you are truly expecting that they will appreciate and love what you give to them. This exchange between people, particularly during the Christmas season, should not be about getting what we want or what we expect, but about what our relationship with others invites us to share. This Epiphany Sunday, we remember the very particular story of the three magi who traveled from the east to bring gifts to the newborn king. When remembering this story, we tend to focus on the offerings given by these magi: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. These gifts were only given to royalty, so they powerfully announced that this newborn baby was no ordinary baby at all. He was the so hoped-for Messiah, King of the Jews. The gifts brought by the Magi seemed absolutely appropriate. What they were offering was the least they could give, since they were meeting a king. And they knew that this king was so special that deserved nothing less than the most precious metals on earth and the most exquisite fragrances on this planet. But the thing is, these magi probably had the resources to offer such incredible gifts, if you think about it. They were known to be scholars with resources and some kind of fame. Acquiring gold, acquiring myrrh, acquiring frankincense, these incredible gifts, perhaps was not very difficult for them, and was not the most special thing they could do for this new king. They knew what was appropriate based on customs and traditions, so that's what they gave to baby Jesus. So it may seem that these offerings given to the newborn king were not really the best gifts. On verse 12 of this second chapter in the Gospel according to Matthew, we encounter a situation that, quite frankly, seems so irrelevant. But so it happens that it is the most important thing that the Magi gave to this new king. It reads, "And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to the country by another route." The Magi's most valuable gift to the newborn king was not gold or fine fragrances. It was securing the safety of this baby child. By choosing not to go back to Herod's court, the Magi were clearly defying the authority of the so-called king of the land. They were going against the most powerful authority in all the land of Judea. They had met Herod face to face and had exchanged information as part of their meeting. Therefore, Herod really knew who these magi were and how to find them. And most likely, Herod had the power to go after them and make them pay for their lack of respect, for not giving him the information, and for defying the safety of the empire. Yet, the Magi did what was best, not for them, but for this new child. The Magi, against all power and authority on the land, went back to their home, choosing a different route, completely ignoring Herod. Perhaps it was a longer route with more threats. Perhaps it was a route that required more resources. Perhaps it was a route filled with terrors, anxiety, and fear. But such difficulties were absolutely nothing compared to the value of the life they were protecting. The very best gift they gave to this baby child, to this newborn king, and to this world was simply securing that no threat, not even as big as the king of the land, could compromise the safety of this new hope being born in flesh and bone. It seems that the best gifts are those gifts that are really hard to see, really hard to find. We tend to focus and add more value and appreciation on those gifts that satisfy our consumeristic desires, such as getting the new iPad, getting a new video game, getting the latest clothes, or getting the latest toys. But what about the time and effort Grandma put forth when knitting that sweater? What about the hours that Dad had to work to be able to provide you with such toy? What about the thoughtful process that your brother and sister endured when picking up something special for you this season? There is so much more that goes behind the curtains when we see a gift. The best gifts don't need fancy wrapping or expensive budgets. The best gifts are the things that we share with one another because we love one another. The best gifts come out of love and because of the relationships we have with each other. And the best gift ever given to us came out of love for each and every person in this room and for each and every person in this world. God's relationship with us gave us a newborn hope because God loves us in such an intimate and transforming way. While this gift was not born in a palace or brought an army of angels to conquer evil once and for all, this gift brought us something greater, something brighter. An everlasting hope that will guide us towards the salvation offered in Jesus Christ. As we continue our journey on this earth and look up to the sky and see that the shining star that is now guiding us is this hope that we have in Jesus Christ, that one day we'll get to meet this newborn King face to face. I ask you, what will you get him once you get to meet him? What will you offer to this newborn King? What are you offering God this morning or this year? Are you offering your very best of who you are? The very best of what you have? What is it? And think about it for a moment. What would you offer to this newborn King? Whatever that may be, know that it is enough. Unlike people, God does not evaluate the worthiness of your offering based on its monetary value or your efforts. God is not disappointed even if you offer your very least. But whatever you offer to God, do it with love and out of love. Not out of duty or fear. Just love. For loving God is the greatest commandment of all. And know that your love for God, your love for neighbor, your love for family and friends, your love for this church is more than enough, because love is the best gift we can ever give to each other. And remember that you are more than enough, because God has chosen each and every one of us to love us first and above all things. So don't be timid, don't be afraid for the journey ahead. Follow the shining star and bring your offering to God this morning. Amen.